All creatures of our God and King, lift up your voice and sing the Unitarian words. they held it. They copied and pasted this from last year's Blessing of the Animals. And I didn't even. Yeah, that's all wrong.
This is all screwy, but this seems.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Unitarian Society. My name is Kelly Asprus Jackson, and I am one of the ministers here. Today, I am joined by my colleague, the Reverend Kelly Crocker, and by the worship team of Linda Warren, Daniel Carnes, and Stephen Gregorius, and by the many voices of our Anybody Choir. Thank you so much for being with us to share your gift of music, as directed, of course, by our esteemed music director, Drew Collins. We welcome you to this very special service where we honor and bless all the animal companions in our lives and all the animals that share this planet with us. Today we bless them, and we know that they bless us every day of our lives. It is such an extraordinary service, and we are so glad that all of you, two-legged, four-legged, got any no-leggeds out there? Whatever the number, are here with us. Welcome. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you are visiting us today, welcome. We are so glad that you are here with us. If you'd like more information about First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table, which is located in the Commons just through those doors and to the left. We hope you will be able to stay and join us for coffee hour immediately after the service, also held in the Commons. For those of you joining us virtually, welcome to you as well. We are so very glad that you are joining us. We hope you'll take a moment to watch the announcement slides shown immediately after today's service to learn more about our upcoming programs and activities. Our one very exciting extra announcement is that in honor of our Blessing of the Animals service, we have Haven's Petting Farm joining us today. Yeah, that's right. You will find them outside on the front lawn across the parking lot, just next to the Landmark building. They will be with us until noon. And a special reminder that if you do have a companion animal with you today, please, work out the responsibility for that animal such that you can maintain a clear separation between the companion animal you brought with you and the animals that are going back to the farm at noon. Also, there will be a special coffee cart under the awning at this entrance so that if you want to get coffee and then meander over to the petting zoo, that will be especially easy today. Thank you very much to our volunteers for making that happen. And now I invite you to join me in a moment of silence to center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time as we join together once again in community.
What it means to have a pet is to love someone who speaks a language you do not.
A dog will bow and prance. A cat will purr and blink. A guinea pig will giggle and squeak.
A long time ago, a friend of mine had a dog with soft ears and considered herself the pup's guardian. A gentle way to think of protecting and caring for a friend, such a small gesture of respect for a source of boundless love.
The dog's long pink tongue lolling in a goofy grin. The cat convinced that kneading and grooming are crucial to this day. A bird asking for a treat, bending a wing to wave.
These are friends. They are loves. It's kind of a surprise that you should love someone so much who would eat the butter on the table if they could get away with it, and gets endless hair on the sofa when they aren't even supposed to be on the furniture.
When they are called companion animals, it's such an open, tender truth. The endless cuddles and tricks and loyalty, the comfort of fingers to fur and big, adoring eyes. These are friends. They are loves.
They stretch our hearts and fill them with their abundance of kindness. When they are gone, our hearts remain larger, though their absence leaves room for expanses of grief. Their love champions and companions us still. And we invite you now to rise in all the ways we do, joining together in the words of affirmation as we light our chalice. We light this chalice, spark of the original fire of creation, to remind us that we all on this planet, the furred, the feathered, the finned, and the scaled along with us, We are all made of the same star stuff and all share a common destiny. We are inextricably intertwined, interconnected, and interdependent. And it is good.
Our opening hymn today is number 38 in the great hymnal, Morning Has Broken.
All right, well, I would like to invite anyone who would like to hear a story to come a little closer. Yeah, I mean, that's technically closer, you're right. That's where you want to be. Hi there. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. All right, yeah. All the beings are invited. That's okay, yeah. Come on up. We've got good cat representation this morning, I noticed. Real good cat representation. Well, I can tell that some of us already have our answer prepped for this question, but who here has a pet? All right, very good. And so I have a question for you. Has your animal, your non-human animal that lives with you or lives with someone you know and like a lot, so you get to see that animal and you think of it like your pet, has a non-human animal ever taught you anything before? Yes, no, maybe? What? The dog taught you not to ride it. Okay. And that lesson is not related to the fact that you don't have the dog anymore, right? No. Okay, good. Any other lessons we have learned from the companion animals in our lives? Well, I have a story, and maybe at the end of it we'll know a little bit more about what animals can teach us. So here's the story, all right? A long time ago, in a certain country, there was an emperor who lived in the palace. And the emperor had a very, very fancy carriage that he liked to ride around in and survey the whole of the country that he was in charge of. And at the end of one of those tours, he came back to his palace, and the people who worked for him tied up the carriage out in the courtyard in front of the palace. But importantly, they didn't take the time to put it all the way away, to put it back in the place where it belonged. So it was just sitting out there in the courtyard overnight, all tied up, this beautiful carriage. And, well, wouldn't you know it, the night passed and came into day, and in the morning, somebody had been chewing on that carriage. Like the wood on it was all chewed on, and the leather on it was all chewed on, and the king was very upset about the state of his carriage. And he looked at it and he said, clearly some dog has been chewing on my carriage. And he was not pleased about this at all. Now, the king had a whole lot of dogs who lived in his palace with him. He liked dogs a lot, and he took very good care of those animals. They were fed very nice meals. They had a safe, warm place to sleep at night, and there were even people to groom them, to take care of their coats and brush them out and treat them very, very well. But he assumed that it couldn't have been one of his dogs who did this. It must have been some dogs from outside of the palace that got in somehow and chewed up his carriage. So he sent out word that any of the dogs who lived wild and free in the city around the palace would have to be rounded up and killed. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. All right, but that's sometimes how it goes. When you got it, this is why you shouldn't have monarchy as your system of government, right? Because sometimes kings make very cruel, arbitrary decisions like this. So all of the dogs who lived free and wild in the city around the palace were going to be rounded up and killed. And the dogs heard about this, and they were not pleased, let me tell you. So they went to the wisest of the dogs and said, we're going to be rounded up and killed. Do you want to do something about this for us? And she thought about it, and she said, well, I'll do my best. And so the wisest of the dogs went to the palace and announced herself at the gate and said, I have come to see the king. And the people at the gate were like, well, I mean, we don't usually just give anybody an audience, but you don't see a talking dog every day. So they let her in to see the king, and the king said, I don't usually give anybody an audience, but I mean, you don't see a talking dog every day, right? So, what did you come here to tell me? Plead your case. And she said, it is not good and noble for someone in authority to punish without making sure that they are punishing the correct person or being. And that is what you are doing. You are punishing all the dogs in the city when you do not know which dog is responsible for chewing up your carriage. And he said, well, that is true in some sense, but here's the thing about arbitrary authority. The king could agree that the dog was right and still not change his mind about what he was going to do. So his mind had not been changed. The dog said, all right, well, what if I can prove to you that that I did not do this, and neither did any of the other dogs who live wild and free in the city? He said, well, if you can prove it, then sure. I mean, then I'll have to change my mind. And she said, all right, I want you to bring out all the dogs who live here in the palace. And we're going to feed them some medicine that will make them throw up. That's, there's a type of medicine that you can take sometimes, only if you're in a condition where you really need to get something out again. It's not a really great situation, but in the times when you need it, you really need it. So they did all of that, and what did they find out was that all the dogs had leather and bits of wood in their stomach. So now the king had to admit, all right, it was my dogs the whole time. And he really loved those dogs, so he didn't want to punish them. So he realized that he had made a mistake, and that this dog, who was pleading her case on behalf of all the other wild dogs, was much, much wiser than he was. So first he said, all right, I'm ashamed of what I did. To make up for it, I want you to be in charge now. You sit on the throne. You can be the queen of the whole empire. And the wise dog decided not to accept that offer. But she did say that all the dogs that lived in the kingdom were all good dogs, even the dogs who lived in the palace. Because ultimately, it wasn't their fault that they chewed up the carriage, right? You left it in a place where the dogs were going to get to it. That's really on somebody else. It wasn't on them. So the king decreed that all the dogs in the kingdom, whether they lived in the palace or they lived wild and free in the rest of the city, that they would all be given warm places to sleep, that they would all be given nice food to eat, and there would even be people who would come and brush their coats and take good care of them. So here is my lesson that I take from this story. I think that animals can teach us a lot of different things. And one of those things that the animals in our lives can teach us is how to love and to care for other living things. Thank you so much for listening to my story. And we are going to all stay together so you can all go back to your seats. All right, thanks.
Oh, you can make the world so bright, and you can turn the day from night, and share your gifts and spread your light, and learn what you
I invite you now into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering which sustains and strengthens our community here, and also our outreach offering recipient, whom this week is the Dane County Humane Society, which provides refuge, healing, and new beginnings for more than 9,000 animals each year. The DCHS shelters, cares for, and wherever possible works to rehome companion animals, exotic species, farm animals, and injured or orphaned wild animals. Now, you'll see on the screen that you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org. And you'll also see our text to give information there as well. Baskets are now being passed here in the hall in which you may deposit cash or checks. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
This is the time in our service where we remember the animals no longer with us. Those who gave endless cuddles, who stared at us with adoring eyes. This is the moment to give thanks for how they shared our lives and our days, opening and expanding our hearts with their faithful companionship and care. Today we remember that they are with us still, enlivening our memories and filling our hearts with gratitude for their presence. If you'll join us in a moment of meditation.
May we give thanks for the animals who live close to nature, who remind us of the sanctities of birth and death, who do not trouble their lives with foreboding or grief, who let go each moment as it passes and accept each new one as it comes with serenity and grace. May we learn to walk in beauty as they do, at one with the turning seasons, welcoming the sunrise, being at peace with sunset.
And as we hallow the memory of good friends now departed, who loved abundantly and in their time were loved, who freely gave us their affection and loyalty, may our hearts hold the grief and sadness of their loss, and may we find kindness and gratitude there as well, with an abiding love and a thankfulness for the gift of these dear friends. May that kindness and gratitude grow day by day into the passing years. Blessed be, and amen.
For I will consider my dog, Percy. For he was made small, but brave of heart. For if he met another dog, he would kiss her in kindness.
For when he slept, he snored only a little. For he could be silly and noble in the same moment. For when he spoke, he remembered the trumpet, and when he scratched, he struck the floor like a drum. For he ate only the finest food and drank only the purest of water, yet would nibble of the dead fish also.
For he came to me impaired and therefore certain of short life, yet thoroughly rejoiced in each day. For he took his medicines without argument, for he played easily with the neighborhood's bull mastiff. For when he came upon mud, he splashed through it. For when he was an instrument for the children to learn benevolence upon.
For he listened to poems as well as love talk. For when he sniffed, it was if he were being pleased by every part of the world. For when he sickened, he rallied as many times as he could.
For he was a mixture of gravity and waggery. For we humans can seek self-destruction in ways he never dreamed of. For he took actions both cunning and reckless, yet refused always to offer himself to be admonished.
For his sadness, though without words, was understandable. For there was nothing sweeter than his peace when at rest. For there was nothing brisker than his life when in motion, for he was of the tribe of wolf.
For when I went away, he would watch for me at the window, for he loved me. For he suffered before I found him and never forgot it. For he loved Anne. And for when he lay down to enter sleep, he did not argue about whether or not God made him.
For he could fling himself upside down and laugh a true laugh. For he loved his friend Ricky. For he would dig holes in the sand and then let Ricky lie in them. For I often see his shape in the clouds, and this is a continual blessing.
It was the deer fleeting gracefully along the rims of the ridges that most clearly epitomized my yearnings for union with a God I occasionally glimpsed at the edges of my awareness. Despite their abundant numbers in the surrounding hills, I seldom saw deer near my house during the daylight hours, but I would hear them in the night, and come morning, would find hoof prints in my lawn. Following deer trails through the woods, I would feel a secret communion with these shy, gentle creatures, so defenseless, so hunted. Yet one day I realized that I too was hunting them in my own way. I recognized that I wanted to exercise a subtle kind of dominion over the deer, that I desired to see them when and where and how I pleased. That is not the way with deer. Deer appear, or they don't. If you are in the right place at the right moment, you will see them, perhaps even very close at hand. But once you try to touch them, they flee. So I discovered it is with the comings and goings of the holy. If I wait, quietly going about the tasks of my day, I might glimpse a trace of divine activity in my life, a subtle sign that the holy is just beyond the edge of my vision.
This from Joan Halifax. I am looking at a great blue heron who is building a nest in the pine tree next to my father's home. Every once in a while, she stretches her long neck and points her head toward the heavens, and I feel the stretch in my throat. She stands immobile for long periods, staring into the eastern horizon, and then floats to the canal below for some food. I have seen this heron mother for years in the same pine tree. Winter is her season to nest. She stands like a blue-gray guardian of the past, not seeming to take notice of the flow of traffic on the highway to her south. This great heron reminds me that storying is a kind of root medicine, a way for us to enter our depths and derive nourishment from the fruitful darkness. For her life to succeed, this big mother heron needs her old pine tree and her dark inland water. She needs continuity, heights, and depths for her life to be complete. It is this way with tellings, with stories, with myths, with prayer, prophecy, and song. They call forth the firmness of the tree and the yielding of deep water in moments of transmitted inspiration.
Words from Gunilla Norris. What I learned is that of all the creatures that I can see in this landscape, the geese best represent the communion of saints. They depend on one another. The lead goose does the most work, but when it is tired, it falls back and another takes its place. To be able to rely on others is a deep trust that does not come easily. The geese fly in the wake of another's wings. They literally get a lift from one another. I want to be with others this way. Geese tell me that it is indeed possible to fly with equals.
And finally, from Nancy Schaefer, tell me, did you really rest? You who made day and night and sky that separated waters above and below. You who told the waters below the sky to stay in one place and out of them. You who asked dry land, who told the earth to send out growing things, and then made the sun and the moon and the stars. You who made the birds that fly and everything that swims, and cattle, and all creeping things, and every animal untamed, and then made humans, and finally, supposedly, rested. Tell me how, in the midst of all that buzzing and flapping and slithering and stepping, all that bursting forth of leaf and fruit and stem that never had known themselves before, tell me, how could you possibly have rested after seeing what no one ever had seen before? Beak, hoof, pebble, after losing yourself in 1,000 versions of blue, water in sun, sky against sky, the horizon where sky and water meet. How did you shut your eyes? How did you not keep turning and looking? Didn't you long to caress each small thing? Notice how toes work and stamens and fingers. Weren't you hollering out in amazement? Weren't you so filled up with glad you couldn't sleep?
Rain
Today we honor the joy and the beauty these animal companions bring into our lives. They offer us reminders to be playful. They teach us the truth of a love without conditions. They show us time and again that we humans are one part of a much larger life. At times, they may be the only ones we can turn to, the ones who see the beauty in us, the ones who accompany our days. Here in community, we know we are connected in ways that we may never understand, to those who are two-legged and to those who have four. We share our lives with one another so we can help each other carry the hard things and celebrate the joys. In that spirit, today we light a candle of hope and strength for Donna's son, Rob, who is currently in the hospital dealing with the depths of depression. May they know they are not alone. May there be healing for them both. May they know they are surrounded in love. And we light a candle of memory and gratitude for Tom Garver, who passed away yesterday, surrounded by those who love him. It will be hard to look up into the balcony and not see him sitting there. His indomitable spirit, his quick wit, his sense of beauty and grace will remain here with us. We send our love to his family and his friends, to all those who are missing Tom today.
And now we ask for a blessing for all the animals which grace our lives and share our world. If you're joining us virtually today, we hope you will be able to gather near your companion at this time, either bringing them to wherever you are watching the service or going to them, if that is better. Find some way to connect to them as we offer a blessing for their precious lives. And for those of you here in the room, after our larger blessing, Kelly and I will be coming through the auditorium to meet your friends and offer them a personal blessing. If we do not see you, please make sure to wave to us so that we can come and offer a blessing to the ones who came with you today. These are the words of Jan Richardson. You who created them and called them good.
Bless again these creatures who come to us as a blessing fashioned of fur or feather or fin, formed of flesh that breathes with your own breath, that you have made from sheer delight, that you have given in dazzling variety.
Bless them who curl themselves around our hearts, who twine themselves through our days, who companion us in our labor, who call us to come and play.
Bless them who will never be entirely tamed, and so remind us that you love what is wild, that you rejoice in what lives close to the earth, that your heart beats in the heart of these creatures you have entrusted to our care.
Now let's rise in body and or in spirit to sing together our closing hymn, number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky.
and love in all the animals with which we share our lives. in the cold nose of a dog, in the warmth of a cat on your lap, in the wondrous otherness of the hamster and the songbird, in the graceful beauty of the goldfish. Bless them all as they bless us. Blessed be, go in peace, and please be seated for the postlude.